What is up, sports bettors? Matt Modi here with OddsJam, here to give you some player props to lock in for NFL Sunday Week 18, last week of the NFL regular season. Obviously got a huge slate of games, no Thursday night, no Monday night, only 2 Saturday games. Huge slate of games. Let's get right into it. Some player props to lock in. Number one, the play that we're looking at here is J.K. Dobbins under 59.5 rushing yards. So every play that I'm going to give you is going to be positive expected value pulled from OddsJam, from the OddsJam positive EV page. Positive expected value. What does that mean? Let's get right into it. So I mentioned the play was J.K. Dobbins under 59.5 rushing yards. So the odds of our bet is minus 120 at either BetMGM or Betfred. Assuming majority of people are going to take this at BetMGM, which is fine. So the reason why this is a play is because the OddsJam no vig odds price this at about just below minus 128. And you're going to ask me, okay, what are the OddsJam no vig odds? What does that mean? So I like to call it the OddsJam perfect line. And these lines are pulled from the sharpest sportsbooks in the world, the sportsbooks that are historically the most accurate at pricing odds. So let's explain that a little bit. Minus 120 is the bet that we're placing. The screenshot here shows odds from majority of other sportsbooks. Look at how the odds kind of vary between the sportsbooks. We see minus 145, minus 150, minus 152, all the way up to minus 170. There's a pretty wide range of odds here, right? Now, obviously, if we see a gap from minus 120 all the way up to minus 170 for the same exact play, literally there's nothing different about the play. One of those has to be incorrect, right? It doesn't make logical sense for them to both be the accurate representation of what this line should be priced at. So with the knowledge that one of these sportsbooks has to be right, one of them has to be wrong, OddsJam backtested thousands and thousands of betting opportunities to determine who the right sportsbook was more often than not. And they did this across all of the major sportsbooks. So it's not just like, this is the sharpest, we're going to use them 100% of the time. No, it's, okay, these 5 were consistently the sharpest, so we're going to use them to set the markets moving forward. So that is what these no vig odds represent. They represent lines from the most historically accurate sportsbooks across the world, right? That's pretty powerful because if you think about it, not every single sportsbook, like I said, is going to have the correct odds. So if we know who more often than not is correct, and we're able to identify that and then provide betting opportunities where we're getting more favorable odds than those sharp sportsbooks. And when I say more favorable, I just mean higher payout, like better for the sports bettor. That's really valuable, right? So that's exactly what we have here. And if we kind of think about it from the holistic view, we're taking the historically most accurate sportsbooks, we're using them to set the market, and then we're scanning lines from all major sportsbooks, identifying sportsbooks that are giving you better odds than the sharp sportsbooks. That is where a mathematically profitable bet comes from, and that is what positive expected value betting means. Now, that doesn't mean you should just take blindly every single bet that shows up on the EV page. There are going to be some here that I actually recommend not taking, and the reason why, which I'll talk about right now, is because you want to look for outliers when you're placing bets, right? So this minus 120, the bet that we're placing is this minus 120. So what you want to do is compare the odds of the bet you're placing to the rest of the sports books. So we see minus 120 here. Look at every other sports book. Now we can ignore Monkey Knife Fight because they're a DFS company. They have the same implied odds for every single bet, every single player prop. So let's look at every other one. The closest sports book, the closest one, is DraftKings, 25 cents lower. And when I say lower, I mean more favorable to occur, the more likely scenario when I say lower. Then we see minus 150, minus 151, and minus 152. And then we see all the way down to minus 170. That's a pretty massive gap between all of these sports books, right? And these minus 120, clearly the outlier. Now, when you're betting player props, there are a couple sharp sports books you want to look out for and make sure that the bet you're placing is an outlier to these sports books. Number one is Pinnacle. That's pretty much the sharpest. Minus 152, that's a good sign. Another one that's pretty sharp, not as sharp as Pinnacle, is DraftKings. They have it at minus 145. Another good sign. So this is a really good bet, long story short, at BetMGM and at Betfred. So This is my first play for today. J.K. Dobbins under 59.5 rushing yards. The next play, this is my second one that we are going to lock in here, is Hayden Hurst over 3.5 receptions. This is at plus 140 odds at PointsBet. So the no vig odds, the OddsJam perfect line, the true line, whatever you want to call it, prices this at plus 133. We are getting it 7 cents higher at plus 140. That's a good sign. Now, step 2, let's compare the bet we're placing to the rest of the sports books. We see plus 140. Okay, FanDuel is kind of close at plus 136, another book that is offering a positive EV play. Then we have BetRivers, a little bit farther away, still closer to the PointsBet and FanDuel line at plus 133. But look at every other major sports book. Plus 105, plus 106, plus 110, plus 117, plus 110. Now let's look for the sharp ones. That's step 3. Well, that's kind of step 2, part 2. Pinnacle, plus 110. 30 cents lower. That's a good sign. Now, BetOnline was not offered up here. BetOnline is the second sharp sportsbook that you want to look for as a market that sportsbook that kind of sets odds. So you want to compare the bet you're placing to Pinnacle, to BetOnline, and then to a lesser extent DraftKings. BetOnline has it at plus 117, 23 cents lower. That's a good sign. DraftKings has it at plus 110, 30 cents lower, same odds as Pinnacle. That's a good sign. Check, check, check for all 3 sharp sportsbooks, and check the box of the majority of the other sportsbooks as well, more aligned with Pinnacle. So this plus 140 at PointsBet, clear outlier across the majority of the betting markets. Not to FanDuel or BetRivers, but that's okay because it is to every single other one. So this is my second bet, Hayden Hurst over 3.5 receptions, plus 140 odds at PointsBet. Play number 3. This is in the Bengals versus Ravens game. T. Higgins under 4.5 receptions. So this is at plus 102 odds at BetRivers. So we don't have a ton of points of comparison here. We do have 3, and let's see where all 3 are priced. So minus 115 each way, minus 113 each way, minus 114 each way. These sports books are telling you that they think that T. Higgins the over-under of 4.5 receptions is basically 50-50. They don't know what's more likely versus what's less likely. I was going to say not more likely, not the best use of the English language there. So they charge an equal amount of juice on each side, right? Minus 115 each way, minus 113 each way, minus 114 each way. That is the sportsbook's telling you, we don't know what side is more likely, so we're going to charge the exact same amount on both sides. We're going to charge even money. This is the sportsbook's telling you that they think this is a 50-50 bet, which is them telling, yeah, again, they don't know what side is more likely. Well, we're getting it at plus 102. So plus money means that you can win less than 50% of your bets and still be profitable, which is exactly what we have here, right? Like plus 102. If you place 1,000 bets at plus 102 odds and you win exactly half, you will have made money from that series of bets. So that's why this is such a good bet. That's another example of why this is such a good bet and stuff that we're looking for. So the other 3 you see here, I did not like them in terms of outliers to the rest of the markets. So that's why they're not going to be plays, but the first 3 are, and that's going to be it for this video. Obviously, recording this the night before the games, going to have a ton more content out there tomorrow for the games as well. So make sure to subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel to stay tuned with that. For me personally, you can find me on Twitter at JediModi, JEDIMODI. Shout out to Star Wars. And then if you want to follow my more betting specific social media where I post a lot of my plays, it's OddsJam_Matt. That is at Pickett, the Pickett app, which if you don't have, highly recommend it. And that's going to be it for this video. So if you are tailing these 3, comment and let me know. Would love to hear it. And that's it. So appreciate everybody watching and have a good one.